Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, germs, and all of those in between. Guys, we have made it to another episode of the Young Blood Podcast. How, why, when we'll stop, couldn't tell you. But one thing I can say is this is episode 22. Mr. Andy Clements, guys. Andy Clements is a fucking legend around downtown Boise. He not only manages one of the most renowned restaurants that I personally can recommend to you, but he is an amazing character, an awesome bar manager, and also known as DJ Brochacho. Check him out on Instagram, check him out online. He does have everything when it comes down to being a great human. Check him out, guys. Andy Clements, episode 22 of the Young Blood Podcast. Cheers. My mystical camera guy Camden here to make sure we're sounding good on every level. You know, I just wanted to make sure. I don't think your camera was getting the mic audio was just getting what it could. So, but it's working now. We're still live. Anyways, I'll have to maybe cut that first couple minutes out for the Apple portion.
No worries. Let's use what's good.
Yeah. So no, at least it's not like when I had an episode with Clay. Me and him lost an hour and like half of footage.
Yeah, no, it's not like you can just sit down and say, let's reshoot, because you're never going to get the same footage, you know? It's like in this format, we could do the same conversation tomorrow. It's going to be completely different.
Exactly. And I'm trying to actually change up the way that I do my intros, because I normally introduce the person and go, oh, blah, 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 and just one cut the whole way. But I want to start kind of doing a pre-recorded before I do the show intro of that person. Now it's a little more exciting, a little more like this is that person, this is what they're about, and Joe the show, and then go into my pre-song, intro song or whatever, and then kind of cut into the show like a couple minutes in where we start actually getting into it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what I hate. Like I hate doing it this way, but I fucking love it in the same sense that I do copy Joe Rogan's platform because he does it fucking right. Like the way he does it, there's no reason for me in my head to do it differently.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I like that straight through format, you know? So, you know, I do a lot of promo, and my big rule is, so watching like marketing videos and advertising videos, I used to hate seeing everyone like cut every 10 seconds. And it made me think like, yo, you can't put two sentences together without having a problem. You know, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you can't do 10 seconds is the most you can do without having to cut. So I made sure every video I ever did, even if there's a little bit of mistakes in it, we did one shot. Because it just feels so like truthful and natural.
Right.
If there's cuts, like it feels like someone's lying to you.
People always ask me after doing a show, they're like, dude, can you like cut some of this shit out? Or I'm like, no, man, it's all one fucking go. So like,
well, if you remember when you asked me to be on, I said I only want to do it if there's no editing process.
Dude, it's
if there's a mistake,
hard.
I want it to be on me, not on you. You know,
right? It's hard too, man. Like it's one of those things that you gotta have. For one thing I do want to tell everybody about, I wish Camden was here because I could go through the efforts of like actually showing everybody the whole new setup we have going on. But I just built a whole new fucking computer. Also, if you guys notice, there is some fluttering in the video. That's just because of the HDMI cables. I'm gotta buy all new, expensive, nice stuff. You'd be so surprised just using cheap connectors and shit like that. Like the trouble it's given me and the bullshit I've gone through. But basically, I've rebuilt a computer. I've got a whole new array of cameras because I was doing plug and play USBs, and I didn't have like a strong enough computer to handle all of that extra USB crap. But there you go. Thanks. Send him a wave. But yeah, man, I upgraded everything, and Andy, you're the guinea pig, the number one, the first go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I know. When Eric, your bartender, you know, from the Reef.
Yeah,
He came on. He did a real estate podcast with Angela. That was super fun. If you literally have no idea how to buy a house or are convinced that you can't buy a house, listen to that podcast. Especially if you're in mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, you know, and you have no idea what you're doing and you think you won't qualify, you surprise yourself when you listen to that podcast, you know, and it's all about the lender. But give that show a listen. But he came on and the whole video portion of it was ruined. So I couldn't even really post the video.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not using webcam cameras anymore. I'm actually using real camcorders that have HDMI on them and HDMI converters that are little separate cards that I plug the HDMI into that goes into the back of the computer.
Okay.
USB 3.0.
Well, I guess, and also real quick, shout out Eric Martinez.
Woo!
If you need a house, that dude is one of the biggest hustlers I've ever met. If he's not working, he's thinking of new ways to make money and work. Like, you know, if you tell him that you need a house and you need a lot of help, you can show up at his, you can call him at 2 a.m. and if he knows that you're really trying to get something done, he's going to answer the phone. That guy just won't quit. He just won't at all. So if you need help, you can find him behind the bar at Reef, Eric Martinez. Hit him up.
Right, dude. And a whole big thing about this show that I'm trying to accomplish is when people come on and spend their time and you know, essentially waste it if it's not done right.
Yeah.
I want to do this for the people that aren't just watching the show, but they're coming on the show because I want to give them the experience that they are expecting when they come in here, you know, and having full availability of the recording, the things you guys said, you know, and actually being able to get it back to them is a big thing. And so, like I said with you earlier, you know, there's one of the cameras here that I actually do have an SD card in it that record the whole show on a hard copy. I'm digitally recording it through a computer, you know, and clearly, you know, blah, 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 I got the cameras.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And learning how to do that and also finding out that there's not very many apps that are free and, you know, that allow you to do this stuff. And this camera I actually got on Facebook Marketplace for $40. And that's just because the guy didn't know what it was. He didn't realize it was an actual JVC camera, which are stupid fucking expensive.
Well, see, no, that's the thing. If you look online, everyone's always selling audio and video equipment for next to nothing because it was gifted to them or they bought it and they don't understand how devaluation works. And so if you want to get into, I mean, you know how much I'm into audio. Like, if you want to get into audio or video, if you pay attention and get like some help from a few friends, you can put together a lot of stuff for really affordable.
Right. Well, the same thing goes with the computer I built. I built it off Facebook Marketplace. Like I found a guy that was selling a processor with a cooler on it, and it was on a pretty nice gaming motherboard that was just outdated a bit. And I spent like a small amount on that, and then ended up not completely fitting in my old computer that I was my workhorse of a computer, like that I thought was a workhorse of a computer, but come to find out this thing was like brand new in 2011 and it's 9 years ago, guys. Like, holy shit, I forget how far data has come and streaming has come, or like old computers like that. Like if you're trying to get in a lot, that's something I also want to touch on is like a lot of people are getting into what I'm doing right now. Like by any means, I'm not cooler than you because I got into this first, whatever, you know, if you want to start a podcast, fucking do it, you know, so maybe listen to some of this advice, buy a really good fucking computer before you even start thinking about it. And that's I'm saying that because I do video, and I don't really get a lot of people who watch the videos, and that's not the point, but it's like, eventually I'll have all this figured out.
Well, no, and then, but with the video, you may not have a ton of views now, but if we're going to take it to the extreme, look at your David Dobrik and your Logan Paul, you know. At first, you know, David Dobrik's one of my favorite YouTube influencers. His first video had like 20 views on it.
Right. That's right. I'm getting about 20 per video.
Like 20 views. His last video had 7 million, you know.
Right, and that's only on YouTube. Like getting actual genuine. I have 25 subscribers on the YouTube account though, so that's
a start, you know,
huge for YouTube.
And then you're using YouTube, and you can cross promote against across all the platforms,
right? And
you just get that count up, and it may suck at first. And I think obviously you have to have quality content, but a huge difference between the winners and losers in this is the people who make 5 videos and think, oh, I didn't win. You know, I didn't get a ton of followers, so like, I hate this, I'm not going to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Versus the people that said, oh, 25 people like my content, I better double down and make more content because 20 kids are waiting for my next video.
That has a lot to do with what Rondell said on one of the episodes. He, word for word, was like, dude, there's one motherfucker out there who listens to this and who's really has no idea who you are, but thinks you're dope. You know, do it for that one motherfucker.
The one guy that's excited about it.
Exactly. And it's one of those crazy things, I don't know if I've told you or I've probably mentioned it in a couple episodes recently. The last time I checked on my Spotify and analytics, I'm in 5 countries. I have.
You did mention that.
Yeah, with an average listening time over an hour and a half.
And see, that's so fascinating because, you talk about like this is a locals podcast about Boise, Idaho, and yet we're getting, you're getting people that from other countries that want to hear.
So Iceland, Greenland, New Zealand, fucking Russia, I think were the ones that I saw. I can't remember all.
Which
of
is
them.
it's just a weird list of countries.
Dude,
some people just really want to.
Trip me out
They just really want to know what's happening in Boise, Idaho.
And like the original few episodes, I didn't have such a hardcore premise like that. It wasn't all about Boise, Idaho. It wasn't as strict of a thing. It just kind of developed into that, and I like that more because it's been this has been so fun. Like, every guest that I have on, the people that
of course, and Boise's such a dynamic town,
man. Like Dusty, I don't know if you heard about that. He came on and he played live music on the podcast this weekend.
Oh, nice.
He came on and played live music on the show.
Dusty, what's his last name?
Dustin Isaac from the Tumbleweeds.
Oh, okay, from the Tumbleweeds. Yeah. Oh, very good, very good.
The lead singer of Tumbleweeds came on and talked about what they were doing and how they're trying to figure it out and, what's kind of next for them. And, people who don't necessarily know about him, like, do you have Spotify on your phone? Fuck, dude. If you can pull it up, go for it. The podcast and hit a like and a follow. That's the one.
Let's do it. You've met me. I'm this guy.
And everybody listening on Instagram or the 2 listeners on the Apple and Spotify combined, you guys go do the same thing. Hit that follow and like button. I don't know how I keep getting viewers and I don't know how we keep growing, but I'm not going to stop doing this. So if you guys are hanging out, I guess I'm here too. And that's the coolest part about this thing is, like I'm trying to tell my buddy Andy here, is these conversations, I'll say it once and I'll say it a million more times, would never happen if we didn't have the show.
Well, no, it's again, I come back to, if you look at Boise, Idaho, it's one of the fastest growing places in the country. Everyone's looking at Boise right now. And in the past, especially 10 years, there's been a cultural movement you've never seen in a town like this, The growth of the arts and music, and community ideas it's been exponential for 10 years.
Right. Well, and so it's also scary to see as well. It's
it can be kind of
fast.
It can be kind of scary, but I think it's what we should be celebrating. We went from a highly rural state with nothing really happening outside of a couple of fairs and rodeos to now every weekend outside of COVID season, you can go down to the park and see art, tattoos, music.
Lots of culture. Boise has its own little town populace. It's super interesting to see. And I didn't grow up for the first 15 years of my life into it, but I grew up enough, where I wasn't an adult here when I moved here. I was literally 15 or something, 16 when I first moved here. And, from that to now, it's almost 10 years. And so I've been here for 10 years.
Well, and see, even as an Idaho native, I'd say you have more experience in Boise than I did because I grew up in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
We came to Boise to eat sushi.
Right.
Like, that's what we did. You go to Boise to eat sushi and to go to the Morrison Center for a concert like twice a year. It wasn't until I graduated from U of I and I came down here and moved into Boise. When I first moved here, I'd been living in Idaho pretty much my whole life. And I'd go on a walk for an hour every night just so I could see what was around.
Right.
I'd turn on a podcast and I'd go for a walk and be like, oh, that's neat. Didn't know we have that. That's cool. Never seen that before. And I just map out little routes and just go for an hour walk every night.
See, I was the kind of like Boise native that in high school we would go do stupid shit like fucking break into this old pen. Like, what's a funny story about that? My girlfriend actually works at the old pen right now. She's a museum attendant or whatever. Or like, I don't really necessarily. She just works for the museum department of Idaho. So that's really cool, actually. We went to the Idaho State Museum the other day, and you know how you go to the rock shops that all the hippies go to and buy all the rocks from? They're like fucking, the big rocks are like $40 and shit.
Yeah.
I know this because I go there and buy rocks. And I fucking was doing this stupid Idaho State Museum thing, and Idaho's the gem state, so clearly they're going to have some rocks there, on display and shit. And mainly it was just kind of a little natural history and so it's only 2 years old. Pretty new museum. They just built it. Cool, fun little interactive thing. But the shitty thing was that it was halfway shut down because everything's touchy, feely.
Yeah,
right.
no, you can't go in and feel the experience. You gotta just visually see it now because of safety concerns.
Right, and there was a fair amount of interactive displays that were like that. So it was subpar to what it could have been, but it was a good time for sure. And at the end, long story boring, I'm walking through the gift shop, dude, and they have these like full on shards of fucking quartz that are like this big around and fucking like shit you not the size of this White Claw can for $12. I was just like, dude, what the fuck? And I was like, babe, like, why didn't you tell me they sold rocks here, man?
I mean,
She was like, oh yeah, I was gonna tell you that. I knew you were gonna be fucking pumped. I'm over there like geeking out, like, oh dude, $12. Oh,
give me a handful of them.
I'll take all of them. And there's one thing that I haven't told a lot of people on the show. I'm a pretty big rock hound. There's this one time where we went up by Seattle, Washington. This was so cool because it was something like you've never done it before or read about in books, and we just pulled off the side of the freeway and then just led straight into the fucking side of some tree-infested mountain, like absolutely covered from fucking inch to inch to inch in tree trunks. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if anybody, were you ever a roofer? Do you know what 12-12 pitch means?
No, that's I've done my construction, but I luckily got to stay out of roofing.
Right, so that almost means like nearly vertical. Like it's fucking, and so it's so high up on this hill that like if you start hiking on a trail, then you just break off the trail and go straight up climbing through the trees, and it gets to the point where you're actually like you're not climbing or hiking anymore. You're climbing up the mountain via tree. Like you're just fucking
just pulling yourself up because
it's the craziest experience, and especially when you're on acid. But it's just
it wouldn't be finding rocks if you weren't doing drugs. I can say that. When a hippie tells you they had a wilderness experience, it involved mushrooms or acid. Just know that much.
Oh man, and I shit you not, we're digging through these trees, and not even digging into the ground yet, and we get to the point where we reach this like platform that's been built, kind of by my two homies that I'm with. They built it themselves. They're like, this is our spot, bro. And fucking, we're fucking literally like digging with our hands and fucking just a fucking little pick, and we're just moving dirt. We're digging straight into the like side of the mountain because it's so vertical. Like you're not digging down, you're digging. Yeah. So and the crazy thing about this whole like area was like it's been so heavily populated with trees forever, but also been hit by forest fires so many times. So the pressure from all the fires is what like created all these gemstones and shit. I don't know the science behind it. I'm not a fucking geologist, but Jesus Christ, we're in the fucking dirt, tripping balls on drugs, but rocks, like not just rocks, but like full on gemstones, bro. Like fucking clear as day, purple amethysts, or just like the size of a fucking gumdrop or a fucking gumball, like a good size gumball.
No, just coming out.
Just dropping every time you fucking hit, and you're like, we're all like grabbing them faster than the next one can. I came home from that trip, and this is in Washington. I took a Greyhound home with 2.5 bags, gallon-sized bags of crystal quartz. And I was praying to the God Almighty above that it didn't get like pulled over because they were like, what are these bags of crystals in your fucking bags doing, bro? Like, what? And especially because I did like already have stuff on me that I didn't want to get in trouble for, so like, I didn't want them to think even more. It's Greyhound, ladies and gentlemen. I never said it, you didn't hear it from me, but definitely take the route if you're worried about your contents being searched. It's a little less strict than flying, let me just say that much. Also, 24-hour long Greyhound trip to get from Seattle to Boise.
It's a lot of stops.
Holy shit.
No, that's a lot of stops.
You can only sleep for like 2 hours because you're just like so fucking uncomfortable. It's just like,
No, so that's super long because I have a lot of friends that, they ride the bus down from Moscow for school, and it's a bus, so it's slow, but that's still done in 7 hours.
Right.
It feels like it's, and then Seattle, you can fly there in 45 minutes. It takes you a whole day to ride a bus back.
Dude, you know what little fucking gold mine of a town that I've just recently gotten exposed to and I'm absolutely in love with in Idaho? Coeur d'Alene. It's fucking sweet.
It's
man.
amazing. So
Spokompton's kind of ghetto, but like fucking Coeur d'Alene, it is a dope little town.
no, it's gorgeous. So when we were at school in Moscow, every fraternity used to go and do a cruise on the lake where they have these huge boats that hold like 200 people. And you just do like one lap around the lake. It takes 3 hours. Go nice and slow. And they have a DJ and it's just a party. And we did it every year. It was so much fun.
You went to school up north, so you're not a shy to the whole Coeur d'Alene custom. Like where?
No, so we did several events.
Go ahead and keep this like fucking fist away from your face too. So like talk into it pretty close to me.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I sanitized it before you got here. Too. I do before every show.
No, so Coeur d'Alene is like when you wanted to take a vacation, it was an hour away. So it's so easy to go to Coeur d'Alene. And so we would do it a couple times a year. And it's a little town and it's so beautiful. I guess the one I really want to see, I haven't been to Sandpoint yet, which is just right by Coeur d'Alene.
Dude, where
too.
Marissa's from? Marissa and fucking.
Well, no, that's where Marissa's from, and then Nazzoli's up there running the restaurant now. So
I know he moved away, like, and I wasn't sure exactly how that was all going to work out with like the pandemic, but
well, it's his father's spot, so he's going up there to help him run that.
Oh,
but that whole area is just so secluded, and it's all, I mean, Rocky Mountains, big trees, and beautiful lakes. Like, what's not to like about it?
I mean, I was also just like, I'm glued to Boise. I've never had the opportunity to get out there and check it out. And my girlfriend and I got an Airbnb and went downtown Coeur d'Alene one night and just really just experienced it. It's really cool, and it's kind of interesting. I feel like the sushi there is a little better than here in Boise. It's like a little closer to the northern Washington.
I mean, it could be because they could have a Seattle sending it in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
so
Spokane's a huge municipality too. So if you buy it from Spokane's big.
Spokane's fucking huge.
Like,
I didn't realize how big it was until I just.
Well, because it's like
there.
the Spokane Valley is kind of like the Treasure Valley when you look at population size, but it's much more denser there than it is here. That's the big difference.
It is. It's
because the Treasure Valley has as many people as Spokane Valley does, but it stretches from Mountain Home all the way to the border. You know?
Right. That's what's the trip too. Like it's Idaho, but it's Washington more than anything. Like it's just an interesting hybrid.
Yeah.
You know, and it's nothing like Boise, where Boise's just straight fucking its own entity, its own little breed. You know, and
people,
and it's making me nervous because it's starting to get brought up a whole lot more on like Joe Rogan and like all these podcasts and these travel sites and these magazines and Forbes and fucking everything. And one thing I kind of can say is that as cool as it is, but as shitty as it is, whatever you want to call it, I personally think it sucks that everybody's moving here because it's at a good level now, and it's like already unmanageable as far as the infrastructure goes. You know, like they don't have any preparation for the size that this town's about to get.
Well, so with that, I think we fell behind on that because no one ever expected Boise, and even Meridian, Nampa, and Caldwell are seeing this too. No one ever expected Boise to blow up like this. And I'm a redneck from South Nampa. I know I have plenty of family and plenty of friends that hate Californians, hate Seattle people, hate Portland people for coming in, you know, messing up the state. But I think on the other side, you got to look about it. Like my industry, the bar and restaurant industry, people from California come here like, oh, cocktails are only $8, not $27. Like I'm gonna have
Vegas.
I'll have 10 of them. You know, it's like these industries, which America's becoming a service economy. The service industry benefits greatly from people coming into this state. And then if you're talking just general economic growth, like we have some issues like housing is a definite issue. We can't build them quick enough, so the price keeps going up. Mm-hmm. But having more people come in and bring more money into the state, I think on whole is going to be a real huge benefit for us. And Boise's going to become more of a big city, but it's also Boise. Cascade's just down the street. Right. McCall's just down the street. Stanley and Redfish are just down the street. We can live in that metro of Boise, and we can go see, you know, a big concert with 10,000 of our friends on Thursday night, and we can be at Redfish Lake by Friday morning.
Right.
Where else can you do that?
There is no state like this place. Like there's Colorado, there's Washington, there's Oregon. They all have their own little secret cool things about them. But It's this state being located where it is it's gotten a hybrid of everything.
And that's where I'm okay with it getting a little bit bigger, because that hybrid doesn't go away just because Boise gets a little bigger.
Right.
It just means that we, instead of, only being able to get some, what's a good example? Instead of getting like E40 and Ludacris coming through every year, which huge fans, now all of a sudden the baby's coming every year because we're big enough to support that kind of show,
Is Tech 9 still coming out here all the time?
Oh, Tech 9's never going to stop coming out here. And I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
That guy comes out here all the fucking time.
Well, I hear his family lives up in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, really?
And then he's actually made a lot of friends in Boise. So a lot of people...
Like my tattoo artist tattoos him.
Exactly. Like people... And he knows people in Boise. And Boise, he'll play 2 nights in a row and sell out. Who else could say that? I played 2 nights in a row and sell out both nights 3 months in advance of the show.
Right. That, by the way, is something we didn't really mention. DJ Brochacho, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
For those of you not listening or do not know of Andy, he is a local DJ from around here. And he's very prominent, man. He probably knows every single... If you have been to a bar at least a few times in your life down here, he has probably seen you. Whether or not you know him or recognize him, you should probably do that.
I have played your evening soundtrack.
One time or another. If you've drank downtown Boise, you've heard his music. Guys, DJ Brochacho.
I'm here.
That being said, it's kind of cool that you're here because I can talk to you a bit about your experience here. I know Brandon, one thing he did have a lot of positive things to say about was when he did come on the show, he straight up was like, dude, I'm nervous now. Like I was just kind of like, oh, cool, whatever. Fucking podcast, cool. I'm gonna go on it. And then I get to your house, I see the setup, and I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna talk about? That was his exact words. And he was just like, you see the lights, you see the cameras, like it kind of hits you a little harder. It kind of solidifies a little more that it's like, this is being recorded, this is being broadcasted, this is going to get posted, people are going to hear it, and like you said, it's kind of a big thing that we're in so many different countries now, and that it's growing in the rate that it is, and because I never expected that to happen.
Yeah. No, yeah. For sure. But so I guess we'll bring up some topics. Let's hit it.
The questions I have to say is like, what was your experience and your first thoughts when you first walked in, like, and saw everything, and you're like, oh, well, even though you've been in the studio before, you've been in my house before, like, this is clearly in my living room. I'm not fucking balling that hard to where I can pay for an offsite studio yet. Just like every other podcaster when they're starting out, this is a living room studio, whatever you want to call it. But I've dedicated my entire portion of my apartment just to this show. I can't even use my dining room table just to eat on it anymore. It drives my girlfriend crazy, And I've put a lot of effort and dedication into this. What was your experience when you first walked in?
Well, and so walking into this, like, it feels like it's natural and guerrilla, which I like. So I do online streaming as a DJ, and like a couple of setups I walk into are just like this, like definitely a dining room table, not mad about it. And then you see there's a nice computer, you got the mixers there, you got cameras, everything's already set up. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna do it professionally, like we're gonna try to create good quality content. And is it in a dining room? Sure. I've DJ'd out of a bedroom before. What's the big deal? Like multiple bedrooms, I've sat up with a green screen behind me.
Right.
But that like kind of underground guerrilla aspect of just like, we're hustling. We don't know what we have here yet, but we're just going to give it our all and set up the best we can afford with the space that we are given. I think that's so fun. Like, it's
so much fun, man. I love everything I'm doing here.
And you don't need the huge professional studio. You just need people with good attitudes hanging out.
Right. And it's the coolest part about it is when you do it in this aspect of things, when you do kind of like have that built not bought mentality.
Yeah.
It's something that is just, it's more wholesome, it's more passionate, it's more genuine. Everything you do is just, it's real. It's you care about what you're doing here. You like every single item has been bought one at a time. I didn't buy a podcasting kit on fucking Amazon for $2,000. I just came with everything.
Right.
Matt Shredder, one of our close friends, lended me this fucking soundboard. I bought the microphone stands for myself. You know, I did all this soundproofing I did by hand, and you know, my next upgrade eventually is I'm gonna hang a wire from that corner to that corner, and then put a curtain right here. You know, so that just kind of completely encloses this area from the other portion of my living room, and then I'm gonna have a curtain on this entryway right here. So literally, when I'm in here, this is the studio. There's like no reason or anything blocking that state of mind. You know.
Well, so when I lived in one of the houses I used to live in, when I first started DJing, this is where I did the most practice. Is we had like 2 living rooms, as it kind of just worked out. Like one was a kind of a living room or a bedroom, however you want it to be. And so it was in the back of the house. I put one couch in it. I put the dining room table that my mom gave me, that was her old one, and then I had a couple little lights that I could, you know, make it so it could strobe in there, you know, and feel kind of clubby. And it was a dude in North End, Boise, just hanging out in his back room, DJing on a kitchen table to the goldfish that's hanging out there, you know.
Right.
And it was so cheap, and like, this is nice. That shit was so cheap. It was so ghetto. I had my grandpa's speakers. The only thing that was nice was the DJ equipment.
Right.
But I spent hours and hours in there just practicing. Like that's a spot that got me to where like people started paying me money to do this.
Right, exactly. And it's
And
all about
I still miss that studio. Like, it wasn't even nice. I still miss that studio.
Dude, that's the coolest thing about everything, man. I'm really building this one step at a time. Literally, the processing computer that's behind you right now, I built it. I built it. I bought parts, put it all together just because I was tired of. If I don't know, you guys heard the story, but there was at least 2 to 3 podcasts that were either completely ruined, that were unposted because processing errors and overheating on my shit. So my processor was overheating because it was just an older computer and it just didn't have very good airflow. And it was a pretty good setup on it. You know, it was like a newer 6-core processor and just on an old setup. You know, it was still a workhorse for what it was. But it still wasn't enough, you know. It still wasn't enough. So I went out and had to upgrade and restart the whole thing, and I opened my eyes to this new world of building and totally custom modding your own computers. Like this is just fucking so extensive. Like, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, no. I say I have family members and friends that do it. Like, it's a whole subset of technology.
Holy shit. And my older brother, when I was like 10 years old, maybe, like, he's 10 years older than me. So when he was like 20, he was like kind of a computer technician. So you called it back then, you know, like the old school kind. He can take viruses off your computer, shit like that. Do a little bit of network, like small office networking and shit. He was actually pretty good at it, but I picked up some things here and there from him, but not enough. And I'm not a gamer. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have a gaming computer, but it's actually like, in order to do the processing, and if I don't do anything in 4K right now, but if I were to actually process in 4K and have multiple cameras handling 4K and doing everything in 4K, my computer needs to be at least 3 times as powerful as it is right now. And that's after rebuilding.
That's where video drags everything out of it. Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing that takes up the most space in your processing power is video.
I've already filled up a hard drive since I started the show. And that's a 250 gigabyte hard drive. I already filled it up. So.
Oh yeah, no, I can totally see it.
Yeah, and I had to actually, I don't know if any computer nerds out there know what I'm talking about, but those of you who do or don't, here it is. I was running all of it off an old disk drive hard drive, and I didn't know that when you do have one of those hard drives, you need to keep it at like no more than 70% capacity. You need to like clear some shit off your drive. If you're running at 99% capacity or 90% capacity, it fucks with stuff. I didn't know that.
It gets tired.
It gets exhausted, and I had no idea whatsoever about that. And it's a learning process. Everything about this has been learning. And somebody, I don't remember who it was, I think it was Clay, he said, you know, watching you grow, because I hit him up when I first started this, but one thing I did for sure when I first started this was I ignored social media for a couple months. I didn't post about the show. I didn't say to anybody I had a podcast other than the people I tried to have on to do a phone interview with, you know, because I didn't want to use my potential range of social media too early.
You wanted to make sure you had a viable product, and then you're gonna promote it. You're like, can I actually show up every week and get good content before I try to spam people with it?
Before I'm telling people I have a podcast, I want to make sure I actually have a podcast.
Yeah. No,
That was the key thing, and it's all of these comics right now. The main original reason why I got this idea was because this has been something I've been trying to do for a long time before COVID and before podcasts were popular, because I want to do stand-up comedy at some point, and right now that's not looking like it's something that's going to be making any money anytime soon.
No,
So the online stand-up,
I'm the out-of-work DJ. We're both sidelined right now.
I know, and it sucks. And I was already convinced that maybe starting a podcast before getting really deep into stand-up was the smarter route. Like I was going to get a little bit of practice, before I just got up there and, because I do write stand-up, and I already have been writing, and I was just like, I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to perform stand-up, and this podcast was kind of a outlet for that because I never got the chance to.
Well, and I've learned this because I've done a lot of stuff on camera. Like I've done a lot of video promo, and I've been in front of crowds, working as a DJ. A big part of it too is whether or not you're social or not, you got to learn how to be comfortable in front of people and with people listening to you, Like I walked into this very casual, and you saw how comfortable I was tonight, but it's because I've been doing stuff like this for 3 years.
Thank you again for coming on.
Oh, of course, but I'm used to this kind of idea. Right. I've been an MC, a KJ, a DJ, a guy who just whores himself on videos to get people to come to events. Once you do all that stuff, you get really comfortable, but it's not, for very few people, I think it's like a skill that you're just born with. Like I wasn't born with it. I had to teach myself to do it.
Right.
And now it seems so natural for me, but it's because I've been doing it daily for 4 or 5 years now.
Did you see Ted's trying to start a podcast?
I did not. Is that on his Facebook?
Yeah, he posted on his Facebook, I think, over the weekend. He was asking for people to reach out to him and help him start a podcast and set up a podcast studio for him or do something like that.
Interesting. Did he say what the content is going to be? Like,
I actually hit him up.
Format?
I was like, hey, dude, I actually run a podcast. I'd be super interested in just helping you out if you need anything. Free of charge, and then he just left me on red. I was like, oh, well, fuck me, right? I would just go fuck myself.
No, I'm curious because
no, it might still be on his Facebook if you check. I know Anna, my friend Anna Waite, she sent me a screenshot of what the exact post he said. So I've got which my phone is currently being used for the Instagram live, so I can't really pull that up. So is there? Oh, you got 2 people who got to wave that over there.
Oh, let's see here.
Wave. Is there anybody? Is there actually anybody watching? Because I don't have very many followers.
We got one right now, and that's Instagram Live.
No, cool.
We're a couple of nobodies right now. Check back in a couple of years.
Well, to be fair, when I did the live with Dusty, I think my peak was 10.
Yeah.
On the live, which is pretty good, but that's also my personal Instagram, and I don't like mingling the personal Instagram with this show, just because this is its own thing.
It should be targeted when you cross promote.
And the main reason, yeah, exactly. It was one of those things, like it was a special event. It was the first live music episode I've ever done on the show with Dusty, especially, and it was kind of like one of those things that I wanted to do for him as far as giving him more outreach by the fact that I have over 1,000 followers on my personal and only 100 or so on my podcast.
No, you're going for the high reach area.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, the fucking music sounded so good. Like for some reason, because he played an acoustic guitar and he played it into the mic. He was gonna I was gonna set him up a pencil mic for the guitar, and he was like, no, that's cool. I was like, sure, dude. And he's like, and after the fact, he's like, God damn it, you should have set up the fucking pencil mic. I was like, I fucking told you, dude. I even got the cajon out, and we were jamming for a little bit, but we were kind of redlining a little bit with the cajon because we weren't ready for those kind of mixes and levels and stuff. We were more prepared for talking podcasts, not for higher levels of decibels.
Oh no, say that's getting into high level sound tech work there.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea what I'm doing.
But you can learn,
dude, and I have been, man. Like
you gotta struggle through it, dude. That's how it is.
In the smartest way that I think that I've kind of crossed some of those hoops, or whatever cameras, crossed some of those hoops is using a soundboard. I went out and I saved myself some money instead of going out and buying a fucking $500 audio interface that converts it to USB, which I do recommend if you do to get a USB 3.0 one, not a USB 2.0 one, because there really is a fucking difference. Don't ask me why, but there is.
No, it's just so much faster.
Oh, fucking yay, dude.
It's way faster.
Yeah, I'm running mine. It's a USB 2.0, but basically, long story short, I was using a bunch of like extenders and splitters off of the front USBs on an older PC. Fucking don't do that. Don't do that. You guys think about how much power actually goes through these cameras and these units.
Well, no, and every time you use an extender and a splitter, we talk about this in audio. Every time you use another connector, you're dropping decibel.
Right.
Like that connection loses power.
Right.
And so every time you're gonna do a connection and a split, you're just hurting yourself. Spend the extra $10, get the cord that's the length you right. That's right for you, you know. Get the right cord. That's what you got to do.
That makes a lot of sense too. Like right now, believe it or not, so my cable on my mic is the only mic that's actually a microphone cable. The other two are light cables. And I didn't know this because I ordered them from the music store, and I just bought them because they're the cheapest ones. But they ended up working for what I'm doing because I'm not doing super high levels and stuff. But it's like basically the next upgrade I'm doing is that, like, among many. But
well, if Guitar Center is open right now, there's one up by my house off of Curtis, just Curtis and the connector there. Can't remember what that. I think it's Curtis and Fairview.
Right.
Those guys are dope.
Dude,
they know me. I go in, I buy cords about once every month and a half. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, DJing. Like, oh, your basket makes sense now. You bought 0 instruments and still spent $100.
And audio equipment's expensive. But the one thing that I did kind of do that saved me some money was I started out with the soundboard. And the soundboard does actually have 9 to 10 inputs on it. I think, 10 inputs on it. Which allows me to have up to like 3 people on the podcast with a sound effects board or four microphones is about the max I want to do. But the best part is I only have one input into the computer, so I do all the mixing on the soundboard versus having 5, 6, 7 different inputs onto the computer and taking strain on your CPU. Because I'm not running any USB mics. I'm running one USB input into the computer, but all my mics are running.
No, straight through one mixer. So your computer's taking one sound.
Exactly.
The mixer's taking 2. Well, right now 2. It could be 2+, and then combining it into one sound.
Do you know anything about wave format?
Yeah,
like wave audio format. I just kind of was introduced to that recently.
See, I'm not super knowledgeable about it. The one big thing I know is it is the most high quality format of audio you can get. So, like when we talk about club music, so you through different sites to get my music from, I can download like club in 320 kilobytes per second.
Right.
Wave comes in at 2,800 kilobytes per second.
Oh wow.
And 320 is the standard. If you go up to the wave, it's coming at 2,800.
Right.
It's that clear and clean.
Well, he was telling me that since I'm really just doing the podcast, I should look into saving my files in wave format. But kind of see, and I have this whole wall soundproof for that fucking reason right there.
It's crazy how these mics are doing good.
Dude.
With the soundproof, it still picks up that little bit of motorcycle going by.
They're good mics, but the thing is, like, it's a really fucking loud big hill right there. So people, when they do go up, they send it. And like, I have layers and layers that are packed into this window. Fire hazard for sure. But layers and layers of shit packed into this window. Thickness on thickness, then cardboard. Like 10 layers of cardboard over all the stuff that I have. And then I have fucking felt blankets packed on top of everything else.
No, that's...
And egg cartons in the corners, which I still, once I get that curtain, I'm also gonna either do the curtain. I was thinking putting the curtain there for people who aren't watching, sorry, but I was thinking about putting the curtain up in that corner. That way I can still access the door back there and just have this just little fucking area. So like, not gonna be able to eat dinner right here anymore, but dedication.
Okay,
dedication.
shit, man. At our age bracket, who actually sits down at a dinner table?
I'm Italian.
Oh Okay, I'm sorry. I forget that. If we're going to be doing pasta, we got to do it at the dinner table.
You saw me making garlic bread with fucking mac and cheese, okay? Literally. Kraft mac and cheese. And I'm like, oh, no, I need garlic bread. And literally, I'm like fucking 5 cloves of garlic smashed, pressed, fresh on this fucking garlic butter I made. You walk in, I'm like, oh, that's a fuckload of garlic. You're like, that's how it's supposed to be. I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure if you ate this, your toes would curl.
Oh, no, you don't even understand. I was making pico last week, and I was shaving garlic. Actually, I wasn't. So I was going to shave it real thin, but instead I got the cheese grater and made it real small, like the smallest setting. So it literally turned it into garlic oil. I put in this pico de gallo. Me and my family, we do garlic, bro. Just had a. Oh, thank you, sir. No, we had the pico nice and spicy with lots of lime and lots of garlic. Had like 10 people there. I made a shitload of it. It was gone in 10 minutes.
Dude, your family seems like a super radical unit. You know,
it's an experience.
The way you talk about them, it's always in a positive way. It's just like your mom and your dad are always like they got your back, especially in the pandemic. There was
and they do. Well, and you saw my Snapchats last week. Like, they got our back, and it's an interesting family.
Oh, yeah, when Matt was playing the drums around the circle of fire and shit.
I was saying, my cousin and my dad were playing guitar, and they were singing that John Denver, Take Me Home Country Roads. That's not that weird of a thing for my family to have happen.
Dude, Dusty, I think we were saying this off air. Excuse me, everybody. Dusty wants to do another show live with his percussionist and maybe his bass player. With no podcast, just a live stream.
Just a show, yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about doing that with me too. Like, dude, you're just like, dude, you've got this dope ass studio. Well, like, let me come over.
Do music with it.
Let me come over and bring my DJ gear. Can I just fucking borrow your shit? I'll bring you booze.
Well, it's you have a setup. Let's make the most time out of it.
That's literally, I spend so much money in rent here a month that's why I kind of figured I might as well do something like this because I'm actually getting the most out of my situation. I'm not just living in a good part of town.
Well, and it's, when we talk about you starting up, my social media followings, like if I come play a show here, we're talking about, I think it's like 900 on Facebook and 800 on Instagram that follow me.
Right.
And so we can make a cross promo set. We can have our friends over, and we can just make an event out of it.
Dude, that's actually one of the biggest things too. I haven't been posting on is Facebook. And somebody kind of gave me shit about it during the show recently. They said, "Dude, what the fuck, man? Like, why don't you? Where's the Facebook?"
Well, if you have the video, have the video, you should put it to Facebook.
I know, but it's one of those things I forget about it. It's like Facebook's for family. I have on my personal Facebook, I have 2,000 friends on Facebook that I personally like have interacted with at least once.
Yeah,
which is a weird thing to say in the modern day and age. But yeah, in order to be friends with somebody on Facebook, you just got to interact with them one fucking time. Or have known them, recognize their face, and that qualifies for you to be friends nowadays in 2020.
Oh, dude, I'm to the extreme. So on my Facebook right now, and this is why I like using Facebook as a promotional platform. Like, it's great to catch up with people and be there. But if we're going to be honest, the promotional aspect of it is huge. I have 4,950 friends on Facebook. I'm almost at the cap.
Right. It used to be better though.
Face to face
used to be better. Originally, when they first dropped like the ad situation where you can run promotions, where they first allowed you to do that, and it wasn't all based around the corporations who can give you a fuckload of money, and you can actually just run a genuine ad, and people would actually see it and click on you.
Yeah.
Dude, I was not even advertising on Craigslist. Like, I was making so much money just on the Facebook ads.
Well, and so do you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk?
I don't. Shout him out.
Well, I mean, he's not going to hear this one. It's Gary.
Shout him out like for other people.
Oh no, so Gary Vaynerchuk, VaynerMedia. I listen to him. You should listen to everyone. If you want to be influential in the social media space, he talks about, like you were just talking about how Facebook used to be cheaper. He talks about which platforms are the most affordable for advertising because he talks about. He's like 5 years ago. He says it costs nothing to advertise on Facebook.
Yeah,
says, your price per click was just fucking stupid. You would spend nothing and have a ton of traffic. And right now, like the guy, he started as a liquor store manager for his father, and then started an online wine store, and now has $100 million social media marketing company.
Dude, I'm looking at nowadays versus what I'd be looking at back in the day. Like I am looking into getting a website designed and all this and that because I just started I branched out my company that I owned, and we're doing all the kinds of these new things. But man, it's fucking like I got quoted like a year or two ago from the same guy that gave me the second quote, but he said, "Hey man, $300-400, I'll build you a website." I just didn't have the money for it at the time. I was like, nah, it's not something I need. Now that my company is growing at an excessive rate, he reached out on a cold call to me and was like, "Hey man, like I see you doing big things with your company. Do you still need a website?" It's like, "Yeah, I do. You know, I'm gonna put you in touch with my partner. Why don't you talk to him about it? You know, and let you guys do your thing." He gets back to me, my partner does, and he's like, "Dude, fucking homie wants $5K to fucking build your website." And I was like, "Whoa."
Okay, see, no. He thinks you're dumb if he offers that.
I was like, bro, tell him to fly a fucking kite, bro. Like, we already have a domain name on Google. Like, it's not like we need to fucking worry about it. We have cmyllc.com already domain, so we don't need to get it right this minute. We can build the website at any time. We have the domain.
But the thing is, like, I guess, like, I know people build it for cheaper than that.
Exactly.
Like, I got a guy who could do a decent one who'd be excited for $150, or I got someone who's gonna, just kill it for you, and it'd be $400 or $500.
I mean, that's how my graphic designer lady is too. She's super rad. She did the graphic design for my album artwork on this. Paid her to do it during the first couple of weeks of COVID, and she's designing my logo right now, which we're changing the logo to, you know what the Matador looks like? Their logo.
Yeah.
We're doing something just like that, like a Taurus or a bull with the bull ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just gonna do CMY LLC, simple, because then we want to fucking sell T-shirts and shit that'll look actually kind of cool. Because if we're gonna have a brand, have a name, have something.
Make it accessible. Don't make it too pigeonholed into.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to necessarily for the merch. It doesn't have to be tile necessarily.
Exactly.
You can also put the shirt that has the CMY and then says tile.
Right. Well, we don't just do tile anymore. We're a we're a GC.
Oh, okay. You're in general because I know about the tile work. I didn't know about the general contract.
No, yeah,
work.
but now we're a GC, so we do everything. We totally expanded full fledged. Like we subcontract work out to fucking companies that don't do the work that we do personally, and then we do a lot of the work ourselves. What we can handle, but what we don't, we get it handled for you.
Yeah, no, bring in a homie that can make it happen.
Exactly. We take the lifting off your back, and you just want us to do something. You're like, hey, I need this done too. All right, cool. We'll figure it out. We'll get you a price.
Yeah.
Don't need you to call 20 people, hire a contractor. No, you just talk to me and I'll get it fixed. That's the whole goal of the thing now. Yeah.
Well, a large part of my upbringing was defined by farming and construction.
Right.
So my first job was building pasture, like for cattle, and I kind of at this point think it was a cruel joke, but it was also really good for me. My grandfather hires me to build a pasture for him, and he wants these the green fence posts. You've all seen them driving down the road, green fence posts. He wants them 2 feet deep into the ground.
Right.
Actually, maybe even been 3 feet deep. I'm like, that's really deep. And he's like, the second part is we're doing it next to a gravel pit. So a gravel that's literally where people just go mine rocks.
That's
so to get the post to where you want them to, you have this like 25 pound post hole hitter, and you go like this. And it took on average, I counted it once because I was getting frustrated. It was like 225 hits to get one post done.
Fuck.
And we did a couple hundred.
So with the post hole digger?
No, not a digger. It's you put you push the post into the ground, and then you have a steel tube with a weight on the end and handles, and you just hold it way above your head, and you come down as hard as you can.
Yeah, I know. It's red, bright red.
Mine was green, but you can get whatever color you want.
To those of you who are color specific, you can get any.
But that was like the first job I ever had was that's what you're gonna do is you're gonna pound post holes and you're gonna learn how to weld and you're gonna string it.
You're gonna fucking hate it.
And 2 years later he has me do one out by the lake where all the ground's soft. It took not 250, took 7 hits to get that deep. And I was like, oh my god, fuck me,
dude. When the ground is hard like that, it just completely makes the job harder.
But what's kind of cool about upbringing like that though is ever since that, and then going to construction where it's like 4 degrees outside, and I pick up a concrete blanket, and the first thing it does is just dump water down my front. Right. And I know I got 12 hours left. Like going from that to this now, I'm like, oh god, everything's easy.
So give me the day in a life of Andy Clements. Clements
The
right
day
now.
in the life.
Yes.
Ooh.
Give me the Andy Clements show.
So, I guess now, like the day in the life of the Andy Clements show, it's gonna get personal.
Let's hear it.
I wake up between like 8:30 and 10 every morning, depends on what time I go to bed. Get up, go say hi to the roommates, and then this is the part that people think is weird about me, but I take a bath every morning.
Word.
Dude, it's sick. You get on Twitter, you get on Facebook. You get on Twitter, you get on Facebook. You read all the news that's going on. I watch all the sports highlights and just like relax for an hour. Like if you call me during that hour, you don't get an answer.
Do not disturb.
Yeah, like I'll hang up on you and text you saying, fuck you, I'll talk to you at noon.
That's funny shit. I'm gonna have to give that a try.
Well, if you turn on the shower head when you're laying in the bath, it feels like it's a warm rainfall on you, like a tropical rainforest. That's how the everyday pretty much starts. And then after that, like I read a book, do a journal entry, and then practice Spanish every day.
Okay. Nice.
Trying to find some positive things to do because I was like, you could be only so angry and pissed and sad all the time. You gotta find some positive things. So that's the positive stuff I'm doing. And so that leads you up to like 12 or 1, and then that's time to head into the restaurants. And I got projects, got marketing, got a floor to run.
Right. One thing I can say about your marketing genius is one of the best things you've told me to do. Actually, it was a small thing, but went far. Was log into my Facebook on a computer and select send to all my friends on a request to like my business page, and that got me probably like 40 likes. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, no, especially depending on what the business is. I even did that. So Sarah Murray owns Meraki Salon.
She owns it. Okay.
Yeah, no, she's the owner. So me and her did this as like a promo trade because we're both sitting on hella friends. She invited all of her friends to like DJ Brochacho on Facebook, and I invited all my friends to like Meraki. We both got like 150, 200 likes out of the deal, and I was like, why is this not a networking norm?
Right, man.
Like people who are knowing everyone, like let's do this stuff together.
Right. And that's also why I'm really trying to be adamant about this video part, or the portion, because like now not only am I doing high quality 1080p video aside from something on my cell phone, I'm not using the cell phone as my main basis of, power and control like some people do. Oh yeah, let's fix that. Perfect. Yeah. 4861. Probably shouldn't say my password for my phone on a podcast, but anyways. None of y'all heard that.
Are you scared, bitch? Are you scared?
Oh, I mean, hackers love me. So why don't you go ahead and go X on that. Wait, hit cancel. Download video, share to Instagram TV live. There we go. There you go. Boom. And then just start another one. Yeah, Instagram TV live, guys, for those of you who don't know this, only goes for about an hour.
Ooh.
Sorry, listeners. At least we don't hit the red marks. Cool. That still didn't even go red. That was in the yellow. So at least nobody's eardrums are broken. But yeah, so Instagram Live only goes for about an hour. And on all the other podcasts, I have actually just not hit it. But, I'm trying to pay attention to these things. And it's really ironic that it's being brought up right now because we're talking about it. I'm trying to get to the point where a lot of clout and a lot of exposure to people who follow you and people who watch you. There's a big base of people who don't watch or listen to podcasts on YouTube or even maybe on their phones and things like that. A lot of them just go to Instagram, and some people. I have a complete basis of people who know about my show just based off my Instagram clips, and they see it on my story, this, that, and another. So they don't actually go out of their way to go listen to the show, but they're like, oh no, I saw that clip of Jared, blah, 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 and I got to keep, now they're kind of expecting that from me,
Well, and that's where you can go on Facebook too. So you look, a lot of the big YouTuber guys, they create edits, whether it's a gamer or someone who has a podcast or someone who just does their normal show. You do the edits like a highlight reel. Right. So the normal show, like we're going to go an hour and a half, 2 hours tonight. Pick like the 2 minutes of shit that's actually funny and really good.
Exactly.
Because I'll be honest, I'm not perfect. Who knows that this is actually good? Right. Let's take the 2 minutes that's good, and then that's the edit that goes on Facebook.
And that's why I'm super excited about this episode, because I do have the new workhorse of a computer. I do have the capability, and I finally learned how to overclock all, I had a lot of really good components on my computer, but I didn't know how to access the full potential of them.
Yeah.
And which something that you can do if you don't know how to do this is called overclocking. And overclocking is basically when you do have sufficient airflow or sufficient cooling in your PC or your tower, it gives you the opportunity to overpower your shit. So essentially, it changes the coding in your processor and in your video graphics card to run at a fucking higher performance than it's graded for. You know?
Yeah.
Which doesn't actually hurt it because they have the cooling fans, they have the capability to run at these hotter temperatures and to run at this higher performance rate. And I finally learned how to do all this. So right now my fucking processor is running like a fucking it's full capacity right now. It's being accessed. And I'm gonna have that same capacity and power when I'm editing. And that's a big fucking thing, man. Like, and again, right now I am recording in 1080p, but I'm only posting in 720, so that is a big thing too. That helps.
Well, that's something I've heard a lot of too. Is most people, if as long as you hit 720, no one's ever upset. They're totally fine.
Yeah, as long as you got 720.
It comes down to your content should be quality, but you're not losing viewers over 4K.
Exactly, you're not. And I actually do. I have some funny story. I have this 2.7K camera that I got, you know, and it's if you go look up on Amazon, they run for about $150, $200. 4K or 2.7K, 36 megapixel cameras. And this thing looks badass, but it's a piece of trash. Complete paperweight. Like, if you try to use, like, there's a USB camera setting on it that allows you to use it as a webcam. Complete trash firmware that literally crashes your computer. Doesn't make my computer crash, like my computer's so strong that it handles it, but it makes the video and the audio.
Yeah, no, just get super laggy.
Everything, it fucks everything up. Just the software on it, the coding in it, just completely fucks everything up, right? So that has one thing I can give advice to anybody that I've already tried to like steer towards starting a podcast is if you do this, guys, do not run webcams. Do not run nice cameras with webcam settings on them, like your DSLR cameras, your Nikon cameras that you shoot photos with that have that setting. Buy a video capture card. And what these are is they are completely separate units that plug into the USB 3.0 or USB 2.0 on the computer. And these are units that you plugged an HDMI cable directly into, and it converts that HDMI live feed from the camera into a USB camera. It's actually taking a lot less off of your computer because it's all being ran on that little card itself, not on the motherboard or on the graphics card or on the processor. So if you are going to start a podcast or get into anything along those lines, get video graphic capture cards. Get a good video card. Get a good processor. Don't use a bunch of webcams. Find a good software. And one of the problems, like I said, that I was telling you, the 720 thing that I'm running into is right now everything that I'm paying for, like I have Adobe Photoshop Pro, but their editing software is super expensive. Like you have to pay for the Adobe program for photo, and then the video package on top of it, which is literally the same price. So you're paying $15 a month for one of them, and then $15 a month to be able to edit videos. So right now, what I'm using, but that gives you the access to 4K and 10.
Actually, wait, hold up. So 30 all in?
Yeah,
Actually,
it's not that bad.
I'll be honest. I'm gonna call you out right now.
It's not that bad.
Pony up, big dog. 30 is not
it's
bad.
Not that bad. And
dude,
so,
I'm paying $10 a month just to have Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Like that's not bad.
But that's also right now I'm paying just to have my platform. I pay monthly for that.
What is the monthly to have a platform? Because I know a lot of people are curious about this. I've thought about starting a podcast.
I pay for a regular podcast host account, which puts me on Spotify. That was the hardest part, by the way, is getting on an RSS feed and getting your RSS feed approved for Apple and Spotify. That itself took me 2.5, 3 weeks of just trying to figure out how to do it, trying to get approved, paying somebody who was a video graphic designer to do my logo and to make my logo the correct size that would work with Apple and Spotify. Yeah. It's a lot of work. But monthly, it cost me about $15 a month. to have.
Okay, so
unlimited
no, say like
access.
I mean that's something obviously
And
over
that's with unlimited hours of posting.
and
so
see
I
like
can-
over a year, you know, what is that? You're gonna spend $150, but that's really not bad.
No, not at all.
Like
Not at all.
people spend so much more money for so much less, you know. You know, to get my music, like some of the pools
Licensing.
the pools we're on, because if you get it from the pool, you pay a monthly fee and you can get as much as you want.
Right.
But if you do that, like it's still just that record pool alone is $50 a month, and you probably want 2 of them.
So, that being said, it's only that much a month because I pay for unlimited access to hours. You know, so if I were to just run a free podcast, you can post maybe about 2 to 3 hours a month. I think
Yeah.
maybe 5. I think it might the top is 5 hours per month, maybe. But if you're posting a weekly episode, you're capping it. It might be even 3 hours because I remember like even just starting out, the first thing I went and did was like, no, I need to have the ability because I reached my cap super quick. I was like, fuck, dude, like I need to have. The
I did
ability.
one show.
Yeah, I did. And the biggest thing about this show I've learned is actually being super strict about the fact that I have guests. Nobody gives a shit about Casey. Me, whatever this is. Nobody
Yeah.
fucking cares. They care about what this is right here, what we are doing, what we're talking about. The person that comes on, you know, the culture I'm bringing with that person. Like that's what's really giving a shit about. Not me. If I were to sit here and ramble, blah, 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 just sit here in a microphone, nobody would fucking listen. You know, and it's you're fine.
Oh no, it's saying no. If you're gonna go the Rush Limbaugh route, that's another way to go. More dangerous, definitely more dangerous.
I mean, you can be an absolute wizard with what you do on those things. Like if you're, don't get me wrong, you can do that. You can do it right.
No, you can do the
good.
solo show, but the amount of content that has to be just so hard, you know, like that top quality, perfect content, it's really tough to
And
get.
perfect editing and perfect video and just clickbaity perfect.
If you notice, all the best podcasters they always have guests because you need that dialogue.
guests or previously established fame.
But you can build
Well, look
that
at the Bill
fame.
Burr show. He talks by himself on every Monday, like the,
That's
the Monday morning
Well,
podcast.
and I guess this might be kind of a dated example. That's why I use Rush Limbaugh.
which I'm honestly I know the name, but remind me. Try to.
So I'm not. He's one of the most divisive guys in American politics. He's hella conservative, a syndicated show across all of America. Love or hate what he has to say, the man knows how to get viewers and how to put together 2 hours of content every day.
Right.
Very few people can do that, you know?
There's another guy on Instagram. I don't know if you've watched the Instagram TV politics videos where he says, "Turn your phone to the left real quick." You're scrolling and it's like an Instagram TV video. He's talking. He says, "Hold up." And he says like a catch line, not a catch line, but says something like about politics. And then he's like, "Well, turn your phone to the right." And then you turn your phone and it shows a full screen, but Instagram TV doesn't exit it out or like make you click anything.
Okay.
And your phone on Instagram doesn't have a lock portion or a lock settings, so like it's always vertical, but it gives you the ability to be watching Instagram and suddenly have full immersive on the screen. And he like actually taught you subliminally, turn the phone, bring me your attention. Yeah,
Interesting.
Oh
You know,
god,
that's
it's
super
so
interesting.
ingenious. It's so ingenious because the second you turn your phone, you're still scrolling. You're not locked in. You don't have to. You can literally keep scrolling down and turn your phone back, but you consciously turn the phone and come in onto the what he's saying. You know, your attention is just grabbed. It is absolutely fucking wizardry, bro. You're a fucking wizard, Harry. This is some Hogwarts shit. I'm telling you, like this guy is a genius, and he's a stand-up comedian. But go to Instagram right now. Open Joe Rogan's Instagram, and then the first thing that you will find is a couple posts by him recently, and he posted he posted one of his videos on his Instagram within the last week. So Jesus Christ. White Claws, ladies and gentlemen, drink Trulies. White Claws are for pussies.
Okay, what's the name? The only video I see in the past week is of a puppy, which I'm not mad about.